So now we have a table that will hold our author data, but we also want to create a table that will hold the book data and then relate those two tables together so that we can determine which author wrote which book. So to begin, what we're going to do is just create a new table, and I'm not going to go through it as slowly as I did the first time. I'm going to actually go a little bit quicker. We're going to right-click in the Object Explorer on the Tables folder and select New Table. And here I want to create a book ID. And this time I want to use a different type of identifier. Instead of using an integer, I want to use a GUID. And so that's a globally unique identifier that in theory should be different across every computer in the world, but in reality could potentially be the same, and some people have claimed that they have been the same. But at any rate, we're not going to worry too much about that for our quick example here. You'll see unique identifiers used frequently in database examples, so I want to use one here, and I'm going to not allow any null values to be added. Then what I want to do is come down, and in the column properties, I'm going to scroll past identity specification and instead go to row GUID here at the bottom. Currently is selected as no, but I want to select this as yes. We'll have to choose this instead of identity specification because we're dealing with a unique identifier, a GUID for a given row, and we want it to be automatically generated. Identity specification really only works for integer style values. Okay, so we've got an identifier. In fact, what we could do now, I suppose, is right-click on it and set that as the primary key, right? And then I want to create the title. Here we'll use nvarchar 50. We'll go and add a description. And this will be nvarchar max. Here we'll create an image name. So this will be like the actual file that will reside, for example, on a web server, so that we can grab that file and then use it as we're dynamically creating web pages to display to end users. And so in this case, I wouldn't expect there to be any characters outside of the ASCII character set, but it really doesn't hurt for me to use nvarchar. In fact, I might even increase it because my file sizes might be larger than 50 if I want to include extra path information. So I'm going to go ahead and make that an nvarchar 100. I'm going to also allow it to be null. You don't have to supply an image name for the book cover. And you don't have to add a description, but you will have to add a title. So I'm going to deselect the check mark on allow nulls. And then finally, what I want to do is relate this book to an author. And so what I need to do is create a related column that will allow me to tie together an author identifier to this book, to this specific book record. And so I'm going to use the name of the author's author table primary key, in this case author ID, and I'm going to use the same data type, so int. And I'm not going to allow it to be null because I need this to be you can't have a book without an author. All right, so that's just a rule that we're going to enforce in our data. So this will pan out in a couple of different ways, as we'll see a little bit later, as we try to delete an author. And if we do that, it will orphan the books, meaning that the book will have, it'll point to an author ID that does not exist in our author table, and we'll see how SQL Server says, no, you can't do that. You can't delete the book until you delete the author first. Or, I'm sorry, the author until you delete the book first. Okay. So I think we're pretty much good to go there. I'm going to go ahead and save what we've done so far into the books table. Click OK. And now what I want to do, I can even shut this down, and we can shut that down too. We don't need it for the moment. Now you can see that I don't see my new table here, so I'm going to hit the refresh button. And now I see my books table. Great. What I want to do is expand books. I'm going to go to keys and right-click and select a new foreign key. And here what I want to do is modify this foreign key relationship. It'll create one just automatically and fill in some properties for us. And what I want to do is get specific on the tables and columns. So I'm going to use the little chevron arrow, but I really want to use a little ellipsis so it opens up another dialog that will help me define the relationship. So here the foreign key table will be the books table, and I want to choose the author ID will be the foreign key to the authors table, the author ID. All right, it looks like it changed it back on me for some reason. So now we're relating together the foreign key table, the books, to the author tables books by the author IDs, and we'll click OK. Notice it automatically creates the name foreign key underscore books underscore authors, and I'm going to go ahead and click close and save. It's going to pop up a dialog that says, are you sure you want to do this, because you're going to be modifying two tables, the authors table and the books table. And I'm going to go ahead and select yes, and it should work without fail. And so, well, how does this manifest itself? You really don't see it manifested just yet. It will manifest itself as we do selects and then when we attempt to do deletes out of our database. So we'll do that soon, but before we do that, I want to get some hands-on experience for you inserting data into the database, and we're going to do that in the very next video. I'm going to give you a challenge, and then I'll give you a solution video to show you how I would solve that challenge of simply inserting additional authors and books into the tables that we have so far. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.